Well, you may be wondering why I'm half in a lantana bush and right up the side of the 300. We're in the middle of the towing test and we can't make it up to the top of this hill. Anyway, stay tuned because this episode's going to be a cracker. Well, we're just about to hook onto the van to do this tow test. Now, I haven't even put the tow bar in this 300 yet, so this might be a little bit of an adventure, just even getting the tow bar in. As you can see, the van is tight in the shed here at work, so it might take a bit of manoeuvring to get out. Well, it's not a very nice day to be doing towing test. It's raining. Well, it's real world conditions, isn't it? So, just got a GoPro set up here to film the camera system, so I'll put it in reverse now, and you've got all these. It's actually not a bad view, it's very, very clear. Now I can see where the tow bar would be, but I haven't got the tow bar in yet. I'm going to back it in closer to the van, pop the boot, muck around and put the tow bar in. So bear with me, it's first time adventure for me. There we go, you can sort of see where your turning circle is going to be. It doesn't look like I'm going to make it in there, so it's good. And the front view camera, it's pretty good, isn't it? Certainly the screen makes a difference for over the 200 series. Definitely a clearer screen. I think it's a better it says I'm going to hit that, but in my mirror there's nothing there to hit. It's just obviously a bit too close for it. Doesn't like it. There we go, we're close enough to the tow bar now. We'll get out, we'll see what I've got to do to get that tow bar in. Righto, how does this come off, everybody? Oh, so you need tools. Oh, that's lovely. That is lovely. Righto, to get this cover off, there's these two little clips that go in underneath it I've just found. So I've got those out. Now we'll give that a bit of a pull, I think. Oh yeah. Comes off. It's in there fairly well though. Now I've got that tow bar put in. Here we go. Let's see if we can, look at that, you can see the ball so well. Wow. Look at that, straight underneath. That is a really, really good camera on this 300. See absolutely everything. Righto, that reverse camera was absolutely unreal. It's got me right underneath where I need to be. So we'll just wind this down. Rightio. Now before I do anything else, I put this down. I've had numerous times where I've left this up and popped it off. People come chat to you or do something and you forget where you're up to, or you just plain forget and you're just on a mission and you're putting it all together. It happens to the best of everybody, and if they all deny it, it's not true. It would have happened to nearly everyone out there not putting that down at some stage, whether it popped off or it didn't. You know, that's why I ensure that is always on there, so I don't have another mishap. Now, I've got that jockey wheel wound. I'll put it away. Rightio, handbrake is off, that is down. Now in the last video I did, I got a few remarks on there about not crossing my chains. So I'm going to cross my chains for all the people out there that really like the chains to be crossed. In this instance, with where they're located on the front of this pull on this van, I don't reckon it's going to do much for it, to be honest. But we'll give it a crack anyway. All right, safety chains are on. Now for the electrics. Here we go. Got that hooked up Now, the grey one is for charging the auxiliary battery system in the van, and the red one is for the brake system for the 𝗬𝗪𝗚 electronic stability control. So that's what the red one's for. It's like ABS, I suppose, for a van. There we go. They're all on there. Tighten the jockey wheel mount up. We're ready to pull this thing out of the shed. Here we go. Yeah, it's going to miss the entrance. Should be able to start kicking it now because the old there's a big wall you probably can't see in front of me over here, but the turn circle on this 300 is pretty good. So it should just pull around. Look at that. Hey? That is working fabulously. Out of the shed, not a worry. These reversing sensors are going off, as you can see. You can see that trailer really, really well. Look at that. Now we'll put some GoPros all over the car and we'll get ready to boogie. Righto, well, we're going to fill this right up. I fill it right up to the first click, then I wait 30 seconds and then I do it again just to make sure that the fuel can flow right down. Well, obviously in this test we're going to be testing the fuel economy of the car towing the big van. We're going to be testing how it actually, it just clicked off, wait about 30 seconds, how it handles swaying around on the road, how it handles climbing the hills, all that type of jazz, a similar way we did to the last towing test. So look, so far getting the van to the servo here, it's been towing it absolutely fabulously. A few little different things I'll explain along the way that not quite I don't like, but other than that, look, power gearbox is always fabulous. I've been raving about that in this car all the way. It's telling me it is chock-a-block. It's even squirting fuel at me. Rightio, work out how to zero this trip meter. Here, our trip A, 0, trip B, 0. Cruising up the back blocks here, actually on a road called 17 Mile Road out the back of 𝗕𝗢𝗕𝗘, goes up to 𝗕𝗢𝗕𝗓 that we really, really like. Now, it's a bit of an 80k zone, there's some sharper corners. This 300 is towing this trailer. Haven't got the lines turned off. That is one thing that irritates me. Toyota haven't got the lane assist done very well on this car. It is super, super sensitive. Maybe there's a setting I can make it less sensitive. I've had a bit of a look. I just don't think that particular sensor is going to allow the vehicle to, how sensitive it is, because as soon as you go near that white line, the car takes over. It just grabs the steering and just, hits the brakes, cuts power, turns the steering. I think that's dangerous. I understand that that's what it's for. You don't want to be crossing the line, but that's, to me, it's way too sensitive, and I think that needs to be looked at. But heading up through these corners and all that sort of stuff and uphill, this car 300 is towing this trailer like unbelievable. I know I've said it every time I've got in front of the camera that this engine and gearbox works, but it does. I'm not sold that it's 100% the engine. I really think it's the 10-speed box and the tune they've got in that box. It is really, really good. the trailer is swaying it around a bit. I am doing a same comparison though. When I did the 200 versus Y62 towing test, we just had the standard suspension in there with no air in the airbags. Now, this is exactly the same. It is sitting really level though. It is really good. But it is, you can feel it is moving it around a little bit more. So I can tell you it's not quite as stable as the 200. The 200, I really think that is where you've got the the 200 with its sway bars, and obviously the KDSS, the hydraulic assisted sway bar, where this one doesn't have that. Now the 200 has the springs, the geometry is different on these 300s. Probably, I think the 300 rear end flexes extremely well when you're four-wheel driving, and it's got a really tiny sway bar on the back of this, so I think maybe that is a contributing factor. Gravel. I don't know if you can see me, but I'm shaking around a bit. It certainly knows they got the van on at this point in time. We are different weather conditions to when I tested the 200 and the Y62 though. We've got a bit of water around and it's raining. Oh, feel how she's bumping up the road here. Doesn't like it very much, does it? Bit of a rough setup. He's really feeling the bumps more than the 200 and the Y62. So I can't wait to get some suspension in this car. Some IMS, you know, run-of-the-mill Dobbinson's shocks and some springs. I reckon it'll really change how this rides. Might even look at an upgraded rear sway bar, to be honest. I really think that the vehicles without KDSS, or if you don't have a GR Sport, any of the model down from the GR Sport, I think you're going to need to have a look at an upgraded rear sway bar for it, in my opinion. I don't know, I was shaking around there, my voice would have been a bit shaky over those bumps. Pretty disappointed. The road hasn't deteriorated anymore from when I did the Y62 and the 200. Yes, there's a bit of water around, that bit of slippage is it's contributed to that, but it hasn't contributed to the bumps. Well, we'll see. It's early on in the test. I've got to drag it through the bush yet, which I'm not going to be able to do in my usual location because it's going to be a muddy mess and I'd have to be recovered. I'd have to get Reuben's recoveries, get myself to tow me out with the big 200, I'd say, with the van on, because I just wouldn't be able to drive where I usually drive. It's all clay and slop and everything else when you get a bit of rain. And I'm going to run out of time before I can do that, because this is going in the shop in the next week to get cut in half into the dual cab. Bumps in there. 300 tows it effortlessly. Maybe I need to do it in a pompous voice. The 300 tows this caravan effortlessly. How come I can say it like that when I'm going, the 300 tows this van just effortlessly? I got it right! Not getting tongue twisted, tongue tied or whatever. Oh, whoa, you feel that bump? That didn't look like it was anything major, but oh, this 300 can feel them. Oh, wow. That's the biggest difference between the 300 and the 200, is feeling these bumps and the way it's skipping around. on this gravel road. I mean, obviously we've got the standard tyres on here, so I put those 𝗬𝗢𝗟𝗏 assault wheels back on it and those 𝗕𝗢𝗙𝗏𝗟𝗏𝗍𝒂 all-terrains, and I reckon it'd be a different story. You know, it'd soak up the road a bit better as well, because you've got a little bit more rubber to give. You know, they're 18-inch wheels, and these are 20s. You know, and there's not much rubber between the rim and the road. So, you know, if I did this, but remember we're talking stock form here, these cars, and that's the biggest difference. 200's got a smaller rim because it's got more tyre on the road. It feels like a physically smaller car, but it isn't. It's really deceiving. I think being see that? I don't know if you can see my reaction. They aren't very big bumps, but they just come through the car. Whee! Look at that. That's a bit slippery, the old road there. It's getting a bit steeper now. I've got to put the foot down. I think you hear that engine roaring. I'm not putting it in manual mode. We're leaving it auto. Let the gearbox do its thing. It's in normal mode. Doesn't have any sports modes or anything like that on. See on this gravel road. Oh, wow. Nasty bumps. Nasty. I suppose you're picking up what I'm putting down about the standard suspension. I mean, we're going to fix that, but that's an extra cost when you buy the car. You know, but if you're doing a GVM, it doesn't really matter. You know, you're going to have the, you know, I'd recommend 18-inch wheels and 33-inch rubber. We've just come to quite a steep hill here on 17 Mile Road, heading up to the lookout, and it's gravel, but the rain we've had, it's quite sloppy. I'm thinking back to neutral, high 4, so just diff lock, high 4. I think it'll be fine. Well, here we go. I've got the mud mode selected. I've got it in center diff lock in. Whee! I tell ya, she's slippery. Holy moly. Whee. Might be Reuben's recoveries to come and get this, I can tell you. I'm going to have to select low 4. Here we go. Nope, bogged. Here we go. Hopefully I can, that van goes where I want it to go. This is gold. I'm trying to back this thing down the hill. Try and get myself out of the gutter. Here we go. Here we go. Come on, big girl. Nah. I'm gonna have to try and kick this van. Well, here we go. 4 low is selected. We're in mud. All we can do is give her a red hot shot. I'll tell you what, here we go. Listen to that engine rev. Come on, big girl. Get some traction. Get on this side of the hill. Get on the high side. Come on. High side. Here we go. There's some traction. Come on, big girl, you can do this. You can do this. You can do this. Yes, come on. Nope. I think this episode of towing comparison with the 300 up this hill has turned into a Reuben's Recoveries. So stay tuned to how we get the 300 out and the caravan. Well, here comes Glenn. I don't know if you can hear him. It's raining. See him coming around the corner. Here he is, coming to the rescue. Oh, that's gold.
G'day.
Hey mate, how are you?
Good, looks like you got a bit of strife here.
Oh, certainly do.
Well, I'm sure we can, I hope we can fix it anyway.
I reckon we can. I reckon before we get too far over, I reckon we let the tyres down on the patrol. Well, about time the other half of Reuben's rescue's got here, Glenn, the manager of DMW. Quite wet, so yeah, I hope he brought some beers.
Gonna need them by the end anyway.
Yeah. I don't really want Glenn giving it all the berries and spraying the front of the 300 and sandblasting it. So as much traction as possible would be fabulous.
It will be more exciting, mate.
It is wet out there. Yes, wet as wet.
You there, Reuben?
Certainly am, Glenn. What mode have you got it in, mate?
Try to recovery, actually, mate, yeah.
I can't believe Nissan's come with that Toyota recovery mode.
Mate, they think of everything, these blokes.
Oh, I'm going to cop some flack over this. Brand new 300. Slipping and sliding all over the show. What a show, I can tell you. What a show.
Rightio, we ready?
Roger. Wow, it's sloppy, eh? Yeah, mate, give her. Come back and give me another hit, mate. Yes! Victorious!
Yes! Yes! What a win!
Oh, how about that? Woo!
Yes, excellent. Good
Oh, I
job.
can't believe it. I was in fifth in manual in fifth by the time I got up. every time you sort of stop and I clicked another gear and then we started creeping again. I'm like, go, you good thing!
Teamwork. Making all the noise.
Oh, that was funny.
That's wicked.
Oh, I don't think there's any. That was just stuck in the rut. That's
It was, yeah. Beautiful.
The car looks alright.
It does. It's beautiful.
Oh,
Nice. That's good.
good job, Glenn, but don't go too far away.
No,
Apparently there's another bigger hill up
Oh
here.
my god. Right, well, we'll give it a crack.
The things you get up to at DMW. I nearly made it to the top before. I probably should have just pulled over and not reversed down, and we probably would have had the recovery car on the hard. But that was a good bit of fun. Tell ya, nothing like a bit of mudlarking. You're never too old for this stuff. Oh, I can tell you. As you can tell, I froth on this. I love this type of stuff. Wheeling, recovering, taking the piss out of people, it's all good fun. But now I'm going to cop it because Glenn is not going to let me live this down.
Hell no. That's the way it works.
Oh, bugger.
I don't know. Did a good job, I reckon, to get it that far.
Well, well, on stock tyres, I didn't even let them down. we weren't expecting to encounter this.
No, I know. It's pretty nasty. I just one of the locals has just been up the top end. They said it's pretty sloppy up there too, but I think she's going to go back up that way.
Okay.
I was told her how fun this is here. So.
Righto. Give up. Maybe on. Nope. No, there's no way. No way. Oh, great fun, great fun. I can't get out of the car because I've got my trailer brakes all wound up, like hard, like at 10, because I'm getting dragged down the hill. So all the boys can get muddy, hook up to me, and the old patrol will get the berries again, and off they go.
You ready?
I am ready.
Let's load it.
Just a little snig, just a little sniggity snig.
Yeah, I reckon. We're getting up there.
Righto, we're at the top of that hill. I will take centre diff lock off, put it out of H4, take that off, drive mode. What am I at? Just normal. Yes, well, it's not going to be the greatest fuel economy test, but it is testing the 300. And you can't doubt the full drivability of this car. I mean, if this had tyres on it, like the tyres we did the testing with the brake test the other day on, yesterday, I reckon it would be a different animal up through here. But it's all about testing the car in its standard form, you know, and maybe it was a rookie error. Oy, it was a bit nasty, that bit. Not letting me tyres down, but I didn't expect this track to turn into a slop hole. Well, it's not a track, it's a road, to turn into a slop hole. And I think it's doing pretty good with 40 PSI in the tyres and what we've just gone through. Auto manual. I'm gonna catch him, I can tell you. Oh, this is sloppy. Holy dooly. Oh, come on, baby. Oh, he's cutting power because I'm not in four-wheel drive. Oh, come on, you good thing. Come on. She's cut power again. Come on. So the whole idea, make sure, I might just stop here while I've got a bit of traction. Put her in low. Put that centre diff lock in. Not taking any chances. Righto. Well, these are the risks you take when it's rained and you try and do the towing test in the same location that we tried doing it when it was in the driveway. But I tell you what, I've had a hell of a lot more fun doing this towing test than I did the last one. Oh, you know, this probably happens to caravanners. They get caught short, they get a big scud storm on a bad road. What do? Well, first thing you should do is let your tyres down. Don't do what I did. Leave them at 40 pounds. Put them down to about 18 or 15 or something like that. That would be a smart thing to do. Well, climbing the hill to 𝗕𝗢𝗚𝗟𝗘𝗗 up here, just down from Hampton, and yeah, it's not too bad towing it up this little bit. Mud in the tyres and mud all over the van. It probably weighs an extra couple of 100 kilos heavier. I don't know what's going on, it's not selecting the right gear there. Anyway, here we go. Whoa, it's windy. Very, very windy. I suppose what do you expect? It's been raining on and off all day. We got caught in it, we got stuck on the hills. What a cracking adventure it's been today. Wow. Well, at least it's cleared up a bit. I can have a bit of a look. I never get sick of looking at that view. It's absolutely gorgeous. Even with how hard the wind's blowing today, you know, you can still see for miles and miles and miles the clouds just above the view. Yeah, so magic spot. Well, time to keep on cracking and head over to the sort of crow's nest the back way. And we'll keep on going. Well, off we go. See you, 𝗕𝗢𝗚𝗟𝗘𝗗. Until next time. I like the steering on this 300. It's a bit lighter than the 200. Really, really nice. this next bit of road should see how the car sort of handles twisties and a few bumps and all that sort of stuff. This car is different to the 200. You know, I'm comparing it to the 200 because obviously the 200 was the car, its predecessor. But, you know, they're two different animals. They really are. And there's pros and cons to both vehicles. And that's the biggest thing I think we're going to find with these 300s. Some things it's going to really excel and shine on. Some things, you know, probably it's going to let you down a little bit compared to the 200 if you're used to those things of the 200. You know, like the suspension on the gravel road wasn't great. You know, seats vibrating around and carrying on and all that sort of stuff, where the 200 doesn't do that. The 200 soaks it up more. But the 200 doesn't have 20-inch rims and lower profile tyres like this 300 either. So that's a big contributing factor. And look, that's a pretty cheap fix. You know, once you've worn out these tyres, you get yourself a set of wheels and tyres to suit. And I'd recommend the 18-inch ones because you've got that rubber to flex, you know. But suspension-wise, we're going to be able to fix that. And most suspension places out there, let's say all suspension places out there, are going to be able to fix it. It's not bad, you know, but it's not great either. It's not great, and it needs to be great. You buy a Landcruiser 200 expecting it to be great, and they are great. You buy a 300, you expect it to be better again, and it's not in the suspension. So, you know, remember, we're comparing the Sahara, top of the line Sahara, to the Sahara now. There was no GR Sport previously. So apples with apples as far as I'm concerned. Not having the hydraulic suspension is a big thing for me. Like the hydraulic KDSS sway bars. That really makes a massive difference. And look, a GXL 200 series actually handles those corrugations and the dirt in stock form better than this 300 does. I don't know what it is. You know, casting aspersions, where the springs are located versus where they're located on a 200. You know, is it the low profile tyres? But it's the low profile tyres isn't going to make it skip on the road. It's the suspension, how it soaks it all up when you're on the bitumen. I mean, I'm just cruising along at 80 now. Not too bad. You feel every little bump in this car, unlike the 62 and the 200. Road noise is no different compared to when it's not towing a van. I don't know if you can see me, I'm sort of shaking around a bit. If you compare that to the last videos that I did in the 62 and the 200, I don't reckon I was shaking around as much. So we're on our way to Perseverance Dam the back way from 𝗬𝗢𝗚𝗘𝗏's lookout. So you're taking the Hampton-esque road, you cruise down those first little bit of the range and you chuck it left into the Perseverance Road. So Perseverance Dam and Crestbrook Dam will be passing up this way. Beautiful. Like I said, same route as last time. Although we're on this road now, it's a bit undulating. It's got a few little potholes and little, as you can see, little ripples in the road. So let's talk about the power. Let's talk about the positives I've found with the 300. Engine has really grown on me, this V6 with the turbos, the way it delivers its power. The gearbox, phenomenal. And I've raved and raved and raved about this gearbox, but it is the 10-speed, keeps it in the power range, in the torque curve. It keeps it in the torque curve. It's absolutely fabulous. You know, so we've got the really big positives out of the way. You know, another positive, it's down on the list a bit though, the steering, because I think the steering in the 200, once you get used to that, it's great too. It's not as flighty. I think that's one of the big things. But this is nice, the steering in this. And one thing I've found with this 300 over the 200, it doesn't torque steer like a 200 series. So maybe it's the way they deliver it to the drivetrain now or whatever, from the drivetrain to the wheels. But yeah, it doesn't torque steer anywhere near like a 200 does. Off-road ability of this 300, phenomenal, big positive. I think it's great. You know, I'm not going to say it's any better than the 200 or any better than the Y62, you know, in stock form, but I think it's phenomenal. I think any off-road ability, you know, if you're talking off-road, serious off-road ability, you're not going to be able to go past the Y62, to be honest, with the way they're set up. They are amazing, but this has proven to be an absolute animal off-road on stock tyres. I'm really looking forward to putting the 33s on it and taking it for a wheel before we chop it. You know, it's, yeah, absolutely fabulous the way the traction control works in this and all that. And in saying that, it's towing this van unbelievable as well. It's actually not moving it around as much as I thought it was going to. Like, it's got the sways, it's the suspension on the car and the bumps is one thing, and I'm not very happy about that. But the way this car is handling the weight of the van and everything on it, and the van isn't shoving it around huge amounts on this road, that's a big plus, very big plus. I must say it is far, far superior with the gearbox than the 200. We're pulling up out of Perseverance Dam here. It's quite a little steep pinch, and like I said, this 300 don't even know this van's on the back. Absolutely doesn't know it's on the back. Phenomenal with how it tows. Toyota has absolutely nailed this combination. Like, if I put this foot down, it'll just kick back and it'll just take off. Like, it has got so much power to burn. You know, it doesn't have anything more on paper really. It's got a little smidgen more on paper than the 200, but the way it transfers the power through its drivetrain, they have nailed it. Toyota's nailed it. I'll give it that. It is the best out of all three cars that I've tested, the 200, the Y62. This is the best with the power delivery, hands down. Y62's got a 7-speed box, and I said that was the saving grace for it over the 200 with the towing, I believed, how it got the power down. But this 300, it takes the cake. It is fabulous, like effortlessly. Try the cruise control out with the caravan on the back. It's getting late in the day, it's about 5:30. My voice is a bit shaky because this road's a little bit, well, it's not ordinary. This is the hill I'm coming up to now. This is the one where it gets a bit wild. Long steep descent for 3 kilometres it says. Car's braking for me, that's better than the 200 and the Y62. This is handling it not too bad. Maybe the stability control works a bit better. Look at that. Yeah. Quite surprising. Quite surprising down there with the way it's been moving me around. Just driving around the small bends and everything, that hill can be a little bit wild. And it actually handled that, oh, probably the best, that hill. out of all the cars. So I'm a little bit confused. Pros and cons to every single vehicle. Maybe the electronics on this car, grabbing the brakes and doing different things with the adaptive cruise, well, the adaptive cruise in this car is far superior to the 200 and the Y62. Your stability control in this particular car, the 300, is better than the 200 and Y62, definitely. Let's touch base on, you know, the difference between the 200 and the 300. The 200, I think, handles on the road better as an empty vehicle. Handles around the corners better as an empty vehicle. Comfort wise, I think the 200 has got that as well over the 300 at this stage with the seats. Yeah, they fit me. Coming into Toowoomba, cruising along at 60k an hour now. It brakes well. You'll see from the brake test that we did when we were doing the GVM testing, just ate it up, absolutely ate it up. So having and plus we got trailer brakes and all that sort of stuff as well. But you know, in case your trailer brakes ever failed, these things here at full 3.5 tonne, I believe, will pull you up, no worries whatsoever. Roughly 300 kgs lighter than a 200. You know, that's a big thing. I mean, with that comes sacrifices, and I think that's probably where the KDSS system got taken out. Maybe it was a bit of a weight saving thing, who knows, but I think I'd rather be lugging around a bit extra weight and have it handle a bit better than this does. It's a double-edged sword when you're comparing this 300 versus those other cars. I mean, there's such pros and cons that are going towards each vehicle. You know, it's hard to say. I mean, the 300 is the future now. We're all going to be getting used to it, and you know, the aftermarket people are going to be making bull bars, and you know, the suspension people are going to be making suspension, you know, and all that sort of jazz. And it's a very exciting time to see what's going to be coming for the 300. I mean, Toyota don't do things to go backwards, do they? So there's a reason for everything they've done on this car. I love the interior. The layout of the interior is fabulous. It's beautiful, beautiful layout. You know, you compare it to a European car, I suppose, very Range Rover-y feeling inside. I think that's pretty cool. I like it because it's so different. But then when you get in the 200, when I drove the 200 down to Willowbank from Toowoomba, you know, roughly 100 odd k's away, the 200 is absolutely magic to sit in. Like, I like the seats in the 200 better than the 300, but I like this infotainment better and all that sort of stuff in this car. I mean, the steering wheel, I could take either of them. The 200 steering wheel I love. I mean, this steering wheel, it's just different. It just reminds me of driving a Hilux though. I mean, I'm a bit saddened by that. I mean, why stick on the same steering wheel as what's in a Hilux? I know you're buying a luxury car, should be a little bit better than a Hilux steering wheel. I mean, the Y62 steering wheel is hideous compared to the Landcruiser wheels. They've got, you know, they're a little bit bigger and bulkier, a very plain looking wheel. I mean, they've got all the controls on a Y62 steering wheel pretty handy. Where the controls on this 300 one are very, very handy. Where I reckon the 200 lacked, they could have had the cruise control on the buttons in front of you, where they still had the stalk down underneath. So the controls on the steering wheel is an upgrade over the 200 in this one, and certainly an upgrade over the Y62 with the looks of the wheel. Interior layout with volume control here, that's very easy to do. Your map, your menu, your audio, your home, your setup and your seek and your track. Very, very easy to get to with those buttons there. Your mode for four-wheel driving, I quite like that setup here, the way they've got it in this vehicle, in the 300 over the 200. I reckon that is really super cool. I like the 4-wheel drive switching better in this car over the 200. I think that's really cool. And another huge bonus I really love in this car is the hydraulic handbrake. And you don't actually have to activate it when you put it in park. It actually automatically does that for you, which is really cool. The two-way swinging center console 𝗬𝗢𝗨𝗟𝗟 here to get to your fridge, and your little carry-all type thing in the top that slides along, because obviously the Sahara's got the fridge. I think they could do better. One thing I do like about the 200 is that it's got the double layer lid, so you can clip up the top section and you can put all your wallet and your keys and whatever else in that area, and you've still got, you know, whether it's whatever model it is, so it's a Sahara, you still got your full fridge down the bottom, where I'm currently cooling my wallet and my keys and other little bits and bobs in that little tray. And the tray is only yay big. It's not very big at all. I think they can improve that a bit, but I think that's, you're going to do that, that's going to make this center console a bit higher, and it's not going to be a slim line. I like the layout of the cup holders in this. It's pretty cool. All the layout along your door here, it's really nice. I really like that. How you adjust your mirrors and everything. Your seat controls, yeah, 6 of one, half a dozen the other, really. Same. As the 200, you know, it's just in a different spot, does the same thing. It's a good car, and I mean, they're going to be popular, there's no doubt. They drive nice, and they've got plenty of go. Gearbox shifts smoothly. Once all the aftermarket guys get their hands on them and get some really good suspension in them, they'll be great. Once we do a chop and GVM on one, it's going to be absolutely amazing, I reckon. This car is going to handle better with, say, 450 in the chassis than it does, you know, now at standard length. It's just going to change the whole characteristic of the car. It's going to ride nicer, yeah, everything. And even when we do our GVMs in the wagons and keeping them standard length, once we do that suspension, they're going to ride way better, you know. And remember, this is not GR Sport. So GR Sport is a different kettle of fish altogether. All right, so this is Sahara ZX and down to the GX I'm talking about, with the ordinarily sprung suspension. Here we are at the end of our circuit. Done 115 Ks so far. We've got another K to go. Might be 116 by the time we get in there and get it fueled. But it's been an adventure. A big one. But yeah, fun. And I mean, it's not the average fuel consumption test or test that you would see that's done on a regular basis on vehicles, but you know, it threw some funny things at us. So this will be a worst case scenario fuel consumption for the 300, because we had to 4-wheel drive and we had to do all sorts of funny stuff. So what an adventure. Just about to pull up to the 𝗬𝗢𝗟𝗟. I honestly thought my day was going to be a lot shorter than it was today. Anyway, that's what happens when you get stuck. Righto, let's see how much fuel this thing's going to take after what it's been through today. Righto, big zero. Yep, off we go. The fuel economy on the gauge said 24 litres per 100 that it averaged. We've given it a hard time, we really have. Well, I've got the docker here. 29.73 litres. Prep meter says 115.8. the calculator worked that out to be 25.67 litres per 100 k's. And I reckon for this particular car, with the hard time it's had, being bogged up and down hills, revving its ass off, to get that sort of fuel consumption, towing that van empty at 3.2, 3.3 tonne, I reckon it's phenomenal. I really do. You know, without all that mucking around, getting bogged and all that sort of stuff today, I reckon the fuel consumption would have been maybe high teens, towing that van around that circuit. Now, people may get better fuel consumption figures than what we're getting, okay, but they're not doing the same sort of terrain and circuit as what we do. You know, we do a mixture of bitumen, of gravel roads, and a lot of it is very, very steep, undulating country. Like, we're trying to put them to the test to really, really find out what they are going to use in the worst case scenario. And today was more of a worst case scenario than ever with what we put it through. So look, I'm really wrapped with that sort of fuel consumption out of what it's got. It's far better than the Landcruiser 200, and I reckon it's far better than the Y62 as well. So a big tick in the box for Toyota there. This 3.3 litre twin turbo diesel, coupled to that 10-speed box, has really, really made this thing an absolute animal. So I'm going to do a bit of thinking overnight, and I'm going to catch you in the morning. I'm going to give you my end sort of results of what I really believe about the Landcruiser 300. And, you know, there's lots of pros and cons, and look, it's just down to people's opinions as well. So, see you in a bit. Well, what an epic day we had yesterday doing the towing comparison, and we had a bit of an adventure right in the middle of it, I can tell you. But the question is, you're all probably wondering, would you buy a 300 for towing? Now, my answer to that is yes, you would. I'm blown away with how that gearbox works with that 3.3 litre diesel, and I'm blown away by the fuel economy that it got, especially with what we put it through yesterday. To get those sorts of figures with all the mucking around we did was phenomenal. Comfort-wise in the 300, you know, it's nice. The interior layout is really, really, really nice, but that is a very personal thing with how it fits you as an individual. I personally think that the car unladen certainly doesn't drive quite as good as a 200, but you know, Toyota has their reasons for why they've changed the suspension geometry and hydraulic assisted sway bars and all that sort of jazz. I don't know the science behind why they've done it. I just, in my opinion, don't think it rides as well as a 200 in that situation. Even towing the van, I don't think it rode quite as well as the 200 either. But in certain circumstances, the 300 outshone the 200, especially with how the electronic stability control works and different things like that in the car, the way it braked and whatever else, having the van on behind it when I was in cruise control, I was very impressed with that. So lots of pros and cons. All you guys got to do now is get yourself out there and test drive one, and hey, make sure you comment below if you've driven them and what your opinion is. And you know, it doesn't have to be straight away after you've watched this. In a few months' time, if you drive one, come back and comment on this video and tell us your opinion of what you think of the 300, because it's going to be such a different point of view from everyone. I mean, if you spent a long time in a 200 series cruiser, you know, you're going to have maybe a different opinion if you haven't jumping into one of these 300s. You might jump into one of these 300s, never driven one before, a 200 or anything like that, and you're probably going to think this is the duck's nuts. So it's a very, very hard call for me, because I've got the Y62, I've got the 200, and now I've got the 300, you know, and if you wanted me to pick one out of all that, and buy price has got a big thing to do with it. These Landcruisers are quite expensive, and if you're Toyota through and through, you're not going to falter at all. But again, if you want the answer to if I was going to pick a Y62, a 200 or a 300, I'm still going to have to pick the Y62 over everything, because it's buy price. And what you can do to a Y62 with the leftover change that you're going to have after you buy one versus a Landcruiser, man, that is going to be one epic vehicle. So there's my honest opinion. I can't change it. You know, that's just how I viewed the car when I've been reviewing it. I've done heaps and heaps of miles in it when it's not towing the van. I've only done that short 100 odd Ks towing the van and we got stuck and whatever else. You know, and look, I'm super impressed with this 300, I really am. Just like I said, comment below with what you guys reckon about the 300, and yeah, I'll be very, very interested to read them. So thank you very much for watching this towing comparison of the 300 video, and I hope you enjoyed it, because I tell you what, I've really enjoyed making it, I really have. I had an absolute blast in the mud. But anyway, cheers guys, and I'll catch you on the next one.